So, welcome back at Mad Medicine. In this part 5, we are going to discuss about the cranial nerves and the various reflexes that are mediated by them. So, yes, it's a simple topic but important because if we have an orientation of the various cranial nerves, the function they're doing, what will happen if there is a lesion. So, it will help you to have a better basis and grasp over various CNS conditions and disorders. So, let's move forward. So first we are going to discuss the particular nerve. What is its function? What will happen when it gets damaged and from which foramen it passes, right? So starting from eighth nerve, that is vestibular cochlear nerve, it will obviously help in hearing. Yes, it will help in hearing. So one is hearing and number two is balance. So hearing, so what will be the corresponding problem? The person will have SNHL tinnitus and balance related nausea, vomiting, nystagmus and vertigo. And it passes through the internal auditory meatus. Now coming to the ninth nerve, that is the glossopharyngeal nerve. It has two components. One is the sensory, one is the motor. Sensory, that means it carries the taste sensation from the posterior one-third of the tongue and also the sensations from the aortic and carotid body as well as sinus. The motor role of ninth is help in the swallowing, and also salivation mainly from the parotid gland. Okay, swallowing and salivation. Then what will happen, another thing you have to know is that what how is the gag reflex mediated. So gag reflex, the afferent nerve is the ninth nerve, whereas the efferent is the 10th nerve. And yeah, and another thing is that all the ninth, 10th and 11th nerve, they pass through the jugular foramen. So gag reflex, afferent is ninth nerve, efferent is 10th nerve. So what will happen if a glossopharyngeal nerve is not working? The posterior one-third sensations may be lost, aortic and carotid mediated sensations and regulation of the blood pressure. It may be not very proper. Apart from that, the motor, the swallowing will be problematic. Salivation produced, the saliva produced will be less because parotid gland is so important for saliva. So the person will have a relatively dry mouth and like that. Now coming to 10th nerve, and this 10th nerve is our vagus nerve. It for the sensory component, again the posterior one-third of the tongue is carry the sensation from the posterior one-third of the tongue. And in motor, again it will help in swallow, it will also help in speech, and also it helps the so it also gives the nerve supply to the parasympathetic means, and parasympathetic nerve supply to all the viscera, like for example in GIT till the right two-third of the transverse colon. And again it is a part of the gag reflex, the efferent limb of the gag reflex. So 10th nerve, vagus is so important. It will help to swallow, it will help in the speech, it will help to give the parasympathetic supply to all the viscera, and also the gag reflex. So what will happen when the vagus is gone? There will be hoarseness of the voice, mild hoarseness of the voice, because the speech is there. So that will result in the mild hoarseness of voice. And sorry, what am I saying? Oh, sorry, not swallow, speech related mild hoarseness of the voice. And a simple test to see the integrity of the vagus is that uvula will deviate always to the normal side. That uvula will deviate to the normal side, right? 11th nerve, the spinal accessory, both SCM and trapezius. SCM, it helps to turn the head to the opposite side and also helps to lift the head from the pillow. And so what happens if there is bilateral involvement of the 11th nerve? The neck will undergo a position of flexion because there is bilateral lesion of the 11th nerve. Now 12, that is hypoglossal nerve. It supplies the tongue muscles. Lower motor neurons supply to the tongue muscles, which results in a flaccid paralysis of the tongue. The tongue deviates here to the side of lesion. Mind you, uvula is deviating to the normal side, healthy side. But the tongue will deviate towards the side of lesion, unhealthy side. So you can remember the tongue is very notorious. It likes all the unhealthy junk stuff. So it also deviates always towards the side of lesion, the unhealthy side, whereas the uvula will deviate towards the healthy side. Now we also have the important reflexes and the afferent and the efferent supply. So corneal reflex, as we know, it is the afferent is coming from ophthalmic division of trigeminal, and efferent is seventh facial nerve. Similarly, lacrimal. So these two are related to the eye, and they're also like like the cornea. and lacrimation, these barriers to any pathogen into your eye, the cornea being intact, and the tears also. So it's very obvious, and it's also that I've written them together, so both of them have the same thing, that is ophthalmic, 5-1, and efferent will be through facial nerve. The jaw jerk is 5-3. Means mandibular nerve, that is same afferent as well as efferent. In gag reflex, ninth is afferent, 10th is efferent. The gag is just like a sinus, so just I gagged the sinus, so the sinus was gagged. I gagged the sinus. So again, like ninth and 10th. And pupillary light reflex, the second nerve, optic nerve, carries the afferent, and efferent is brought by the oculomotor nerve. So that was for this video. Thanks a lot for watching, and please do like, subscribe, share, and comment.